Welcome to So Seriously. I'm Heather.
And I'm Carrie, your self-proclaimed experts of everything in the middle. So seriously, are there rules or is there an art form to naming children?
You're asking the wrong person.
Why is that, Heather?
Well, my son's middle name is Elvis.
That's true.
And, yes.
And that has nothing to do with it. Those are unrelated.
Unrelated. It turns out if you fall asleep at the hospital, your husband might think it's funny to go ahead and name your kid Elvis. As his middle name.
Good night, sweetheart. Well, it's time to go. Do, 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 do.
It's a lifelong joke.
It's a lifelong joke that my son gets to live with.
It's the joke that keeps giving.
Keeps on giving. But, you know, his best friend also believes in middle names.
Ooh, multiples.
I
have no idea what that's about.
Oh.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt.
Oh, Darren Hugh Webster.
Oh, that's right.
Bishop.
Oh, shout out to Huey.
So what do you think? Is there an art form to it?
For sure.
Rules?
I mean, maybe. Well, I think there are some obvious rules. Obvious rules.
Okay.
For example, if your last name is a noun, you should never name your kid with an adjective.
A lot of people do.
Right. Like, I remember a long time ago meeting somebody named Dusty Nail. And I thought that was mean. Or maybe it was Rusty Nail, for all I care.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah. And I was like, that's a rule. Or that's rule. That's rude.
I would name him Rusty Steel Nail.
Like his middle nail. That would be kind of tough. So I definitely think.
Okay. Yep.
Like, careful. And it's always careful around last names. It's like, if your last name is like super long, maybe your poor kids should have a short first name.
Mm-hmm. And then there's always, you have to think about the family names.
Yes.
A lot of people include those. We use, like, my grandma's middle name is my daughter's middle name.
Yes.
And then I know you kind of incorporated family names.
Well, both my sons have my husband's first name for their middle name. And that my husband's first name, James, is, like, super prevalent amongst his side of the family. Like, cousins have that as a middle name. Most of our nephews on that side of the family have that as their middle name.
Everyone is named after James.
Everyone's named after James.
Bond. James Bond.
And then I really dropped the ball on my side of the family because...
I agree. You did.
I did.
You really did.
My grandmother, Shirley Ann. My mother, Becky Ann. Me, Carrie Ann. My daughter, Jillian Alexis. I don't know what I was thinking.
And I always think her name is Jillian Rose.
The other thing that I think is important is if you are naming multiple children, like that they should have a similar style. And that was one of my rules.
Is it a rule, like, is there a certain number, like if you're going to have 3 or 2, or does it not even matter?
I mean, to me, it doesn't even matter. I'm just thinking of like a family that I knew growing up, 3 boys, and it was like Joe, Bob, and Sir Anthony. It was like the third one just did not fit with the first 2.
I guess we know what the favorite is.
And to me, that was always just like, really? Like,
I like Sir Anthony.
like it just didn't fit. It felt like it was so misplaced. So that was one thing that I was really intentional about, like really annoyingly intentional, was that once we had our first son, Sam, and his name was Samuel, and that had 2 variations of nicknames. It could either be Sammy or Sam.
Okay.
So for our other 2 kids, I was like, well, it has to be a 3-syllable name with 2 possible nicknames, one being a 2-syllable nickname and the other being a 1-syllable.
Okay, you put way more thought into this.
I did. And you know, it backfired because when we met one of James's fraternity brothers, like years after we'd had our kids, and we were catching up with him, and he said, so, you know, do you have any kids? We said yes, and he asked us what our kids' names were, and I just used their short names. I said, we have 3 kids, and their names are Sam, Jill, and Ted. And he just looks at me deadpan, he goes, What'd you do? Come up with those the night before? I was like,
Mean.
if you only know how painstaking this process was.
You probably were like, well, actually, and then you had to explain to him.
What I actually said was we named them after characters in our favorite book. So you were a teacher in your former life. So you, like, teachers always come across the best names or the most ridiculous names. Did that impact when you named your children?
Well, because there's ones that you're like,
Yeah.
if I name him this name, I'm going to always think of so-and-so. Or if I name him this name, I'm always going to remember my favorite little buddy. So that does come into play.
Yeah.
My favorite little buddy's name probably wouldn't have worked for us, but,
Was it something with, well, okay, because like Hannah has such a great name with the rhythm of it. I really do wish that her middle name was Anna.
I thought about it. Hannah, Anna, Canna Day.
Yeah.
Rosanna, Danica.
But no, she's Hannah Cecilia. And then we have John Elvis. But I really thought I'd have 3 boys and name them John, Joe, and Jack.
See, you didn't throw a Sir Anthony in there.
No, Sir Anthony.
Yeah.
My brother has 3 girls, all with M names.
But I do think that's what I'm talking about. Like, there is an art form, and there is, like, when you are thinking about naming kids, like, I've always felt like, it maybe isn't intentional, but you can often see a style preference. And
Classic names.
classic, yeah.
Trying to be a little different.
Yeah, people, and that's, okay, one of my, it's not a pet peeve of mine, but it's more of a, like, I just find it very curious. People who just throw random letters, most often it's a Y, and the way they spell names.
Okay, Cecilia. I had to figure out how to spell that at the hospital.
Yeah, I think I misspell that every time I write Hannah's name.
I might have misspelled it. I did not
Maybe
know.
you were
I
wrong.
think I could be wrong because my mom gave me an ornament and I'm like, that is not how I spelled it. Yikes.
So I shared my rules. Do you have rules that you think you have to play by?
Family names.
Yeah.
Figuring out how you're going to incorporate that. My big one is making sure they're not being made fun of.
Yeah.
Like looking at it, like my grandma taught me that one because I can't remember what name I came up with, and she's like, "No, it can't. That's gonna be sing-songy, and they're gonna rhyme it with this, and it's gonna be horrible."
Yeah.
So, and then other rule for us is middle names can be fun.
Yeah, I think that's true.
And again, for Darren, middle names.
Yeah, multiple.
Yeah, middle names.
When you think about making fun of kids, I do feel a little bad for both of my boys because Sam was born right around the time of Sammy Sosa infamy.
He's Sammy Rosa.
And he's Sammy Rosa.
That's cool.
Well, but honestly, at that time, I really wanted to name Sam Theodore and call him Teddy, but I could not get past that it would be Teddy Roosevelt.
And then when Teddy came along, you're like, this is going to be awesome.
Right, but then by the time Teddy came along, I was like, our in-law, or James's brother, had used our backup name for his son, which was Max. That was like the backup name. And so that was used, and then I was just like, looks like we've got a Teddy.
Which is funny because Max was pretty popular for a while.
Yeah.
Which I looked I looked up the top 2024 names.
Okay.
For girls. Okay, listen, they all end with A except for number 10.
Okay.
Olivia,
Yes.
Amelia,
No one.
Emma,
No one.
Sophia.
Yes.
Oh wait, Charlotte does not end with an A.
Charlotte.
Charlotta, Isabella, Ava, Mia, Luna.
Ooh, I like that.
That was Julie's dog's name.
That's. I was gonna say that's I want to name our next dog Luna
And Ellie.
and Ellie.
So, and then for boys, it's Noah, Liam, Oliver, Elijah, Mateo,
Ooh, I like that.
Lucas, Levi, Ezra, Asher, and Leo.
So the top names. I feel like I know someone with all of those names.
Well, and I feel like right now they're almost like a little more old school. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
the names like Liam and Elijah. And
So seriously, I think. Well, let me ask you.
okay.
Do we believe that there are some like common sense rules for naming your children? Maybe do I need
Yeah.
to take out the common sense? Do we feel like there are any rules to naming your kids?
I think there's everybody has their own individual rules.
Yeah.
Every family has their own individual family rules. And, honestly, there's a kid named Blanket, so anything goes.
I agree. I think that it was the most fun thing is picking names for those precious people. And
Or waking up and finding out what your precious person is named.
Yeah, or that. But I think have fun with it.
Yeah.
Have fun with it. Do what feels right for you.
Or think what they're going to have to live with for the rest of their life. Elvis. It's funny.
It is funny. Tell us what you think. Comment below if you think there are rules or etiquette to naming kids.
Or what's your favorite name?
Or what your favorite name is, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for watching. Here's our gift to you.
We're all about rules with So Seriously. So seriously, are there rules here? Because you're a rule follower. So
I
we
am
always
a
have to-
rule follower.
So we like, hey, you got to stop interrupting the talent. Sorry.
What?
Will you say that again? Because I talked over you, but that was Are there rules? Let's say
Drinking a little water.
Heather's got a little cough, so we're trying to help with some
Oh,
syrup.
that's delicious.
It's in your cabinet.